Okay.
Yep.
What do you think about podcast? What do you think? Is there a future?
Oh, of course. I mean, look at Joe Rogan with the election recently, and him having Trump on and JD Vance, and being able to for them to go around the traditional media and just speak directly to their audience through podcasts. That was incredibly powerful. Whether or not you agree with their political beliefs or anything, the fact that they could do that, right? If it wasn't for podcasts, it'll probably be higher when this comes out, but I believe the Trump interview right now is on 50 million views on Joe Rogan, right? How else would Trump have been able to speak to 50 million people? How else would 50 million people have been able to see a window into his brain, which is almost what a podcast is. So no, I think it plays a very important role, and I think they're just going to keep growing.
But do you think it's gotten super competitive?
Well, it's the same as YouTube. People would say YouTube's gotten super competitive, but you were telling me you started your channel 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're killing it.
Yeah.
So, no, I think there's just how many people are actually making great podcasts. So, no, I think podcasts are going to keep growing and becoming more and more powerful. And it's just you're always going to want to see a window into people's brains. You know what I mean? And unless there's a new medium to do it, I just see it being more and more important, to be honest.
If you had a podcast, what would you do? What hacks would you put out to actually grow it crazy?
It's just focus on making the best content possible. Even now, it's funny because you listen to my old podcasts. I'm so data focused and that kind of stuff. But now I just kind of look at ideas and I'm just is this objectively a good video that people want to watch? And when we write the videos, I'm just is this good content that people want to watch? It's more just focused on, it's always been focused on make the best video possible, but even more hardcore now than ever. And it's, there really is no, if you wanted to be a top podcaster, is not, you can do these little gimmicks or things or whatever, but what you really need to be focused on is how do I articulate better? How do I make sure there's not awkward moments with my guest? How do I get it where my questions are more well-researched and I'm asking things that no other podcast has asked this person, so they feel like they're getting more value listening to this, and all these other things, which I wouldn't call growth strategies or hacks. I would just call relentless obsession with making a better product.
Here's my dilemma as a creator. And this I'm asking personally, and I'm sure a lot of creators have the same thing, right?
Yep.
So when I am, let's say, making the podcast with you or with anyone, right?
Yep.
I'm thinking about how do I make the best?
Yep.
But the way I think, or the knowledge I have, or the kind of stuff I'm going through in my life, best for me would not resonate with a lot of audience.
Okay.
So the questions which I would ask would be so subjective to just me.
But I did say make the best podcast possible for you. I just said make the best podcast possible.
So how do you different? How do you actually pinpoint that difference? This is the question which maybe the audience wants to know.
Yeah.
And this is the question which you want to know. And I'll give you an example if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I know for a fact that the moment if I ask you a question that how much money did you spend in making this show, this particular clip will fly.
Yeah.
This will turn out to a reel or a TikTok and it'll just go everywhere and it'll become a headline.
Yep.
I know this, right? So for audience, this question is important. But for me, probably the most important question is, should I and other creators stick to Hindi and just create content in our local language or try to go global? Both of these questions are really important.
Yeah.
But one has such a small audience and the other has such a big audience. Which one do you ask?
See, that's where, and this is going to be an answer you might not expect. I would say if you're having to choose between, here's a question that I think people would be interested in, do really well, and then here's a question that I would be interested in but don't think do really well, my answer would be come up with more questions and find one that you're interested in and would do well, right? That's just kind of my 2 cents, right? Because it's with ideas, we kind of had the same thing in the past where it's these are our videos that would do really well, but I just don't want to film, or I don't think make me look good. And then these are videos that I think would make me look good, or I'd like to film, but they don't do well. And the answer was always, okay, stop being lazy, come up with more ideas. You know what I mean? Okay, how many ideas are you sitting on? 50? Well, come up with 500, come up with 5,000. Eventually you'll find an idea that is both viral, that you want to do, that fits whatever you're trying to hit. And
okay, talking about creators, What are the top 3 ideas you have for somebody who's watching this and wants to pursue content creation as a career? What are the kind of channels they can make or the type of content they should make?
Yeah. You've listened to my other podcasts. You probably have an inkling of what I'm about to say, but who the fuck cares what I think or what content they should do? Like their videos are going to be trash. They just need to make videos, make 100 videos, improve something every time. Ideally make 1,000.
But still, where do you see like the specific niche? Like give me 1 or 2.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter. They shouldn't do content because I said, oh, this niche is undervalued or whatever. They should just do what they want to do. And then they should just make an asinine amount of videos, improve something every time, and then and just get to the point where they're objectively making good videos. Just go make content. Like you're gonna suck at it. You probably will suck for a long time. You'll probably quit well before you start making good videos because that's just what it is. And we need to weed out the weak anyways. Like 10,000 people will hear this, 500 will act on it, 400 will quit in the first year, another 90 will quit in the next, and then of those 10. 5 of you are going to quit the year after that. And then 5 of you are going to be psychopaths. They'll do it for 5 years. And in 5 years, you'll have honed all these skills and you'll probably be pretty good at it. And everyone's going to say you got lucky. And obviously there's luck involved in it, but you're just resilient and you grind and you didn't give up and you got to the point where luck could meet the hard work,
True. That's there. Thank you so much for watching this episode till the end. Please let us know in the comments, what did you like about this episode and what you didn't? What are the other topics and guests who you want to see on the episode on this podcast so that we can get them for you and provide you all the value and insights that we're already doing for you. Please comment and let us know. Also, send this episode to at least one person whose life is going to change after watching this episode and understanding this conversation. And don't forget to subscribe this channel, because the more you subscribe, the more we grow, the better and the bigger the guests we get, just like this episode. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep